Ugh. Well, good morning and welcome back to a new video. Now, for those hardcore followers, which that sounds kind of weird, like a cult, but it's not a cult. If you have been following me for like the past 3 years, you would know that I'm in the exact same spot as I was 3 years ago when I made this video up here. So the formula works back then. And so I'm going to say it's a location and not the person. No, I'm not joking. It was the person, but the location did help. So we're back at the same spot we were 3 years ago to do some landscape sunrise photography. I'm going to take you through a bit of rules. But you know what? As it was 3 years ago, I'm in a cloud, aren't I? So a cloud has come over. This is meant to be like the beautiful golden twilight hour, but there is nothing because it's a cloud. So I'm going to pause the GoPro because you don't want to sit here with me whilst I wait for sunrise. And we're going to take some pictures. I'm going to show you some little hacks. I'm not going to talk about the rule of thirds or, the exposure triangle, any of that. I'm just going to talk to you in like real person terms. And we're going to take some nice pictures. And then we're going to go back down and have some breakfast and coffee. Because it is f***ing cold. Like, it is f***ing cold. So I'll see you soon.
One eternity later.
All right, so plot twist. The cloud is still here. Now, this didn't happen last time, so I'm just going to maybe just blame it on the weather because I think that's all I can really do. But I did promise you a video, and I'm going to deliver on that. So we're just going to talk in this improvised temporary wind shelter, which is not a wind shelter. So I'm going to tell you the most important rules of landscape photography in the sunrise setting. So sunrise landscape photography. But I'm not going to be able to show you it because there is no sunrise. But there's 3 rules which I think over all the years that I've been doing this are the most important, and they've got nothing to do with everything that everyone else tells you. So yeah, sit back, relax, let's do this. So the first rule, is that I've got a rock up my bum. And I can't get rid of the rock up my bum because I'm trying to talk to you in a space where you're going to be able to hear me from the wind. But the first most important rule is that you have to keep your shutter speed at double what your zoom is. So, for example, you're shooting at 50 millimeters wide, and this is for all cameras, Sony, Nikon, Fuji, Canon, whatever it is, doesn't matter, it's all the same. So, most important rule is you're shooting at 50 mil, right, for example, you want your shutter speed to be at 1/100 at a minimum. You're shooting at 200 mil, you need your shutter speed to be at 1/400 at a minimum. Now, the reason why this is the case, and even if you do have in-body image stabilization and all that fun stuff, which we all have these days, is that in the low light situations, you're going to be moving, you're going to be shaking, might be wind, who knows what's out there. There might be a bear chasing you and you go, oh, look, there's a beautiful sunrise, and you take a picture of it, even though there's a bear behind me. You are going to be moving, and so that doubling of the shutter speed does compensate for the movement. /Maybe not if you're being chased by a bear, so just put the camera away. But in every other situation, I'd say that's what you need to do. Put it as 1/400 for 200 mil, or 1/100 for 50 mil. So just double it up. And if you don't have in-body stabilization, then it's even more important because you are going to be more shaky. So then, as a minimum, then if you can go even higher than that, then do that and just compensate with your aperture. Now, what the fuck was that? So I'm in snake territory, so I just thought a snake just brushed against my bum. But it did. And if you see this video, it means I survived. So that means that wasn't a snake. But the second rule of photography, and the most important rule, is with your ISO. People always say keep it as low as possible. And in most situations, that's fine. Do that. But for sunrise photography, I would say don't do that. What I would say first and foremost is go to Google or whatever you use, but predominantly Google, and type in what is the native shutter speed of my camera, right? And then you'll find out what the native is. Then, once you have that, information at hand, then you go in, turn on your camera, because I brought my camera, believe it or not, and you go into your ISO settings, and then you set up your ISO. So mine is, hang on, let me just turn mine on for you. Set up your ISO. Now, hopefully you can see that, but that says a minimum of 100 and a maximum of 1,000. Now, that is for sunrises, because if you're shooting at ISO 100 and it's low light situations, and then you go to edit it, your camera hasn't been able to capture the darker parts of the image, and therefore when you try and lighten it up, it's going to look rubbish. It's going to look rubbish. Got to stop swearing. But you really have to allow your camera to bring in as much light as possible. So that is why I set it as minimum 100 and maximum of 1,000, because then it's not going to go and put it as ISO 4,000 where it's going to be so grainy. But if you have it as this example, ISO 1,000, I can natively take the grain out of the image with my editing software, and it's not too hard. The third fact, and before I take you to the third fact, I'm just going to show you sort of what I'm dealing with, because there is nothing here. This is my view, and there's nothing. That's what I'm looking at. So just so you know that I'm not actually robbing you of a good video. The third most important fact, and this is for sunrise and sunset, whenever you're pointing your camera at the sun, if you want those lovely sun stars that you see everyone taking, is f9 or higher. Now, f9 or higher just means that you're going to be closing the aperture rings like that. It's going to go like that. And then as it sort of does that and you can't see through the aperture, those bits that open and close are going to create a bit of a star. And then when you take the shot at the sun, then it's going to make it look like there's a sun star effect. Yeah. It's something that, everyone said, f11, but it doesn't have to be f11. It doesn't have to be f22 either. It can be f9 and above. It just depends on, what your lens can handle. If your lens does do, I've just changed my ISO to 204,800. Definitely don't want that. Though it is very bright. Anyway, don't do that. F9 or higher, because you don't need to go for them. Depends on your lens. Each lens you'll find out. You just do the lens aperture zoom thing. Just adjust your aperture, and then once you've adjusted your aperture, then you'll see just what it looks to be ideal. So those are my 3 tips. Now, if it does change, because I'm going to sit up here for a little bit longer, even though I am dying of hypothermia with a rock up the bum, I will try and stay here for another 10 minutes to see if sunrise does happen, because it is bright out here. There's just no sun. But if not, then I hope you've enjoyed this very random improv video. But it is full of fun, interesting, good, important facts. So that's something. That is something. I'm just going to show you. I'm just going to show you what I'm dealing with, because there is nothing. And you come for a photography picture video, so I'm just going to sit here and show you what there is. That's what I'm dealing with. Absolutely nothing. But that's fine, because, you win some, you lose some. I'll see you in the next video. And I would like to promise, I'm going to likely promise, that there will be a lot more interesting, entertaining than this one. Alright. See you in the next one. You would not believe it, but the sun, it's not even sunrise, but the clouds have just cleared and this beautiful view has popped up. So I'm just going to take this one shot if I take my lens cap off. And then you got at least one picture, right? And it's a rule. I can show you exactly what I mean. So I'm going to take this shot here, and it is f4 70 mil. You know what that means? It's going to be at least 140, and it's 1/640, and it's gone. Yep, that's it. All right, I'll see you in the next video. All right, bye.